North Base Construction, great service from the ground up. Roofing, storm damage and siding. Call the pros at North Base. Our hands-on approach, advice and consulting. Our attention to detail makes the difference. Visit online at northbaseconstruction.com. North Base Construction, great service from the ground up.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the North Face Construction Relegation Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jack Yeager, alongside Luke Yeager.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. It's weird being mentioned second again. Now that Andy's out, I get to move up for a day.
Weekly promotions, baby.
That's
what we're living on.
That's right.
On today's show, we have Playoff Pick'em Challenge. We also have off-season speculation continued, and we're playing a game, Draft Duel. We will break each of those down as we get into them, but we'll start off with Playoff Pick'em Challenge. Austin, the owner of the Turf Hopper, set up a Playoff Pick'em Challenge for the league. Essentially, everybody is picking who they have projected to win each game, round by round. Last week, each game was worth 1 point each. The results after week one: Unicorn Fart is in first with 5 points. Shocker.
Yeah.
They dominate in every category that we offer him.
So annoying.
And then a tie for second goes to the Yorkies, Longnecks, and Number Punchers. They are all sitting at 4 points. And then you have Turf Hoppers at 5, along with Token and Bourbon Barrels, Sleepers, and Barnacles. And then a three-way tie at 9th, Assassins, Lumberjacks, and Avalanche. They're at 2 points. And 5th place is at 3 points. We will get into some takeaways. We both wrote down 3 takeaways of what we noticed after round one. That includes players, teams, relegation, anything that you can pretty much conjure up. Coaches, you talk about a coach a little bit. We're pretty much getting into everything.
Yeah, kind of whatever we noticed. It was fun to do the league pick'em and to watch the playoffs just as a fan, kind of watching the game. I mean, we had a little something on it because we picked each game, so I was rooting for my picks to win. But it was kind of fun to just watch football again too. There was something I kind of liked about it.
Yeah, very little pressure, especially not having any fantasy guys going and not having the Minnesota Vikings in it.
Right.
It was very much like every game I went into, people would ask me, who do you want to win? I was honestly like, I don't really care. I just want to see a good game, a good battle.
Which
and we got a couple
happen,
of those.
Hardly at all.
Well, yeah, right. The Detroit game was fun to watch, and I actually enjoyed Tampa Bay beating down on Philly more than I expected.
Okay, I didn't. That one was just a horrible game for me. I thought I was so bored. Like the second half.
It was funny getting into it. Oh, that second half was tough. It was funny, though. I think my initial take on that game was I kind of wanted Philly to win just because of Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelce.
Which we didn't.
They're down A.J. Brown.
Jason Kelce retired.
Yeah, Jason Kelce announced his retirement, which is kind of sad.
I know.
I think he's kind of one of the fan favorites in the league. Everybody just loves Jason Kelce, period.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's become beloved across the whole league. I think I didn't want the Eagles to win. I didn't want them to win the Super Bowl, but I didn't want them to quite go out like this. Like, it just feels
same.
It hurts. It hurts watching Jason step away after they go 6 of 7 losses to end his career, basically. And
a round one exit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. You don't want to see that for a Hall of Famer center, one of the most beloved guys in the league for sure. And I do like Jalen Hurts. It's funny to hear a lot of people like already saying he's not him, he's overrated, really coming after him. And I do think that you can make a case for that after that game. Like, they should have beat Tampa Bay for sure. But it is football. You never know who's going to win. You're down your top wide receiver. And honestly, I think a big part of that game was their defense, which Jalen Hurts has nothing to do with. So I'm not totally off the Jalen Hurts bandwagon. I also think he probably adds more value from a fantasy aspect. But people are dogging him already. And I'm kind of like, man, they made it to the Super Bowl last year, made the playoffs, had a great start to the season, kind of fell apart. It's unfortunate, but it's not a one guy, one player team, even if it is the quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, I think last week I talked about how I'm a little down on him as a quarterback. I like him as
Yeah.
I absolutely love the man Jalen Hurts. Like, I think he is just an awesome guy. I've loved him since basically Tua took over for him. I really didn't care about him before Tua took over for him at Alabama, but the way he handled all that, and I don't know, he just seems awesome. So I'm pulling for him. I don't know if he's the guy to build a franchise around. We'll see. I'm not a GM.
Yeah. He was definitely getting a lot more positive attention last season. I think everybody was really high on him.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to see how fast people change in football. So quick.
Fast.
Like,
so fast.
Look at Minnesota Vikings fans. Josh Dobbs is the answer. Josh Dobbs shouldn't be in the NFL. Nick Mullins is going to save us. Nick Mullins is not him. We should have played Jaron Hall from the start. Jaron Hall comes in. Jaron Hall sucks. We need to restart. We need a new quarterback. It's like how often can you just totally switch up on guys? Specifically, a backup his entire career, a rookie, Josh Dobbs. I mean, never really shown that he was like the guy anywhere. Comes to Minnesota and has a couple good games, awesome. But like everybody was like, oh, he's the next Tom Brady. Like, he is the Pastronaut. He's
right.
He's the greatest things we've ever seen. And it's just funny how quickly people switch up. But
it goes.
We'll get
so
into
fast.
that a little bit more. Let's get into some specific takes. Let's do yours first, and then we'll go me. We'll alternate.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. So my first takeaway is that McCarthy needs to go. Dallas needs to get in. McCarthy's he's not a good coach. I mean, that's actually the wrong word. He's not a great coach. He is a good
he's
coach.
not a great coach.
He's able to get a team through the regular season, but he doesn't seem to be able to prep a team for a playoff push. And part of that is I don't know if Dak is able to get a team through a playoff push. I don't know if he's a good enough quarterback for that. I really don't. Dan Orlovsky, I was listening to ESPN, and he was basically on there saying they need to get rid of Dak, they need to get rid of McCarthy, they need a total reset. And I think that's a fun hot take for TV, but there's no way they're getting out of Dak's last year of his contract. Like, Dak's there for another season for sure, but I would not re-sign him. I would not extend him. I'd let this contract ride, see what you can do with one more year of Dak, and then move on, probably rebuild. But I would get McCarthy out, and I think a lot of people online are saying the answer is Belichick. I don't know if that's the answer, because I cannot imagine Belichick working for Jerry Jones. Like, there's just no way that he would be able to take that kind of control from Jerry Jones. Not a chance.
I don't think so. I don't either. I did see that he was interviewing in Atlanta yesterday. So he could be, he's on the move. He's going to keep coaching. And I did see that people were like, he'd be a good fit in Dallas. I'm with you. I don't think him and Jerry Jones are going to be holding hands to a Super Bowl.
No way.
Fun fact
seems
about Mike
crazy.
McCarthy, I did see on Instagram, Mike McCarthy is 42-25 in 4 seasons with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
On paper, that's incredible. 3 seasons straight with 12 plus wins, but is currently 1-3 in the postseason. And maybe 1-4. I don't know if this was before. Oh no, this is a day ago. So he is 1-3 in postseason games. And I did see also an interview where Dak was praising Mike McCarthy, saying it wasn't his fault, it was the players' faults. He said, if you're talking about Mike McCarthy leaving Dallas for the reasons that you are, there's no reason why I should stay in Dallas either. Like, I should be on that same bus.
Agreed.
Which is admirable. I think it is. Yeah, which is admirable. But I think it does prove your point that you were saying, yeah, that sounds about right. We should get rid of both of you. Now, I am also in agreement that I don't think they're going to do that in Dak's last season of his contract. He's gonna be a Cowboy next year, no matter what. But after that season, I could see him on the move. I could see him going somewhere else.
I think so. I think they should. But yeah, so I think McCarthy's done, and I'm. It's not a hot take. I don't think I'm alone in that. I just think it became so painfully clear he just told. I don't know. It might have been players, but it felt like he got so outcoached LaFleur came
Yeah, it
in
did seem like he
and
got out coached.
owned him. Absolutely owned him.
He
All
did
right,
get owned by LaFleur.
what's your
That Dallas team does struggle with
Yeah.
the Packers.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
And,
they have their number.
Yeah, and CeeDee Lamb didn't even look good to start that game. I think
No.
he had 2 or 3 drop passes to start, and that's not like CeeDee.
Mm-hmm.
But
was
we'll move
bad.
on to my first hot take. We'll transition over to Los Angeles and the Detroit game. Puka Nacua is special. He is in his own tier of rookie wide receivers. There's nobody. I'm not putting anybody up with him right now. The only guy who I might say has similar value is like Laporta, but Puka Nacua comes in.
Tank Dell.
Nah, Tank Dell is not there.
I think he is.
I don't. Puka Nacua had 9 catches for 181 yards and a receiving touchdown, most ever by a rookie wide receiver in the postseason. The last guy to do it was DK Metcalf 4 seasons ago with 160 yards.
Yeah, no, that's insane. Puka is legit. But I also think that this whole rookie draft class is crazy good. I mean, absolutely stacked. You look at Puka, who might be the best. You look at Tank Dell, who's injured, but he looked like he was the best until he got injured. Like, do you remember the Puka slump in the middle of the season?
Yeah.
So like
he had
started
a slump,
started off incredible, then slumped. But so what? And then Rashee Rice also put up like 130 yards in his rookie day, in his playoff debut.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a freak too.
Laporta got a touchdown. This rookie class is stacked.
Yeah, they are stacked. I like that you brought up the there was a Puka slump for sure in the season.
Mm-hmm.
He still came out with almost 1,500 receiving yards as a rookie though, with a slump.
That's insane.
1,486 yards, 6 touchdowns, which I think will go up next season. He had 194 fantasy points.
That is so crazy.
It's like, man, what a crazy rookie outing. And I think he's going to go into next season as a dominant player. I don't think he's going to regress in any sense. It didn't seem like, unless the only thing that could come up, and I think you can make an argument for, is like injuries. We did see him get injured a couple times this year. He's not extremely durable. But I mean, he's tough. You have to say he's tough because he came back in that game where he hurt his shoulder. Looked pretty painful. Came back, finished out the game, ended up beating me that week because of it.
Yeah.
So he's a freak.
He's an absolute stud. I love Puka. I hope he continues to do well. It'll be interesting. It's always interesting to see what the second year holds for rookies once teams get an off season to look at the tape really extensively and to see like, okay, where can we shut him down? And maybe he's just one of those guys who isn't shut downable really. You know what I mean? Kind of like Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Like it's funny
Or
they're
like
on the
Tyreek.
same on the same team. Well, Tyreek is a freak athlete and he can't be shut down just because
He's faster than everybody else.
Yeah, what's his Instagram thing? Faster than He's just insane. But you look at like Cooper Kupp, and that guy is always open, even though he might not be the fastest guy on the field. He might not be he just seems unstoppable. And I don't fully know why he's unstoppable. I don't think Puka
he just finds balls.
Puka's not a freak athlete like Tyreek.
Like Tyreek, no.
But he gets open. He makes catches. He has incredible hands. So he might be a guy who just is better than the defensive back because he's smarter, runs better routes, something like that. But at the same time, it'll be interesting if defensive coordinators can figure out if there's a flaw in his game. Same with any of the rookies next year. Like they come back and maybe Tank Dell, who's a bit smaller, maybe they figure out, oh, if he gets jammed every single time, he never had a catch. I don't. I'm making things up, but it'll be really, really interesting to see what happens with the rookies next year.
For sure. Last take on Tyreek before you move into your next one.
Yeah.
Did you see what I don't know if it was a tweet or if it was like an Instagram post. He posted a picture of himself on the sideline and he said something like, I know we lost the game and I'm bummed too, but why did nobody tell me how ashy my lips looked on the sideline? It was like a picture of him. They're just kind of like white.
I think it was pregame. I think that was his pregame warm up because he didn't have his jersey on. He was just in short sleeves out on the field. So funny.
Dude, he is so funny. All right, let's get into your second take.
Yeah, okay. Take number 2. The tush push needs to be removed from the game. I'm done with it.
Okay.
I think it is absolutely awful. I hated watching. So oddly enough, it wasn't the Eagles game that made me think it, who originated it. I was watching the Bills game, and they had a play. I don't know when it was exactly, but it was like 4th and 1, and they ran a QB sneak up the left side, tush push, had guys behind pushing Allen. He jumped up, he gets stopped at the line, he's falling backwards, gets carried by the guys behind him over to the right and across the line. He's like literally horizontal. He's not even doing anything to move forward. And that should not happen. Like, if the defense can stop you, you shouldn't be able to be carried by somebody else. I don't know. It bugs me. I don't like it. I don't think it's really showing how impressive that offensive player is. There's already enough rules that make it so hard on the defense. Why add this in? And then the one that absolutely pushed me over was the fact that, so the tush push just means that you can push from behind, right? And usually we see it on a little 1-yard QB sneak or something like that. But it carries out to plays on the outside too, where there was I can't remember who the Bills player was. I think it was a running back or something like that, had made a catch in the flat, and Joey Porter
like Cook
Jr.
or something.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
And Joey Porter Jr., defensive back for Pittsburgh, had wrapped him up and was pulling him down backwards. So his back was facing the line of scrimmage. And out of nowhere, an offensive lineman, like full speed, comes up behind and absolutely rams him to push his guy forward. Like, that's a super dangerous play. Knocked out Porter with a concussion. He was completely blindsided. And that was because of nothing that the wide receiver did. The defensive back had done absolutely everything to wrap him up and get that play ended safely. And then all of a sudden, an offensive lineman, 370 pounds, comes up and just levels you, blindsides you from behind. That needs to be taken out of the game. Let the players on the out, like, you can block from in front, do whatever, because you can see stuff like that coming. But get the pushing from behind out of the game. Shouldn't be there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I see. So my issue with the tush push is I have a bit of a bias because my quarterback is Jalen Hurts.
Right.
And Jalen Hurts makes his fantasy bread off of tush pushes. He gets a rushing touchdown almost every single game because of it.
Right.
So for me, it's kind of like, I don't want to see it go because of that factor alone. Outside of that, I think it is kind of dumb. I think it's interesting also that you pulled the tush push out of the Buffalo game and not the one that's trending right now on social media, that fake slide.
Oh,
people
my
are
gosh, that pissed me
about
off,
that,
dude. I was so mad
that's bogus.
Because then you look later in the game where the guy gets a late hit for hitting Allen because he slides.
So
Dude,
dumb.
How can you call that on the defensive player and not make the call with the fakes? That made me so mad. I don't even like Pittsburgh.
That was 100% on the refs.
I can't stand
I don't either.
Pittsburgh. Like, but I was so mad when that happened.
They got screwed on that. They got screwed on that pretty hard. And I know we've seen it in the past too. It's like, you can't, I think in that situation, if you miss the fake slide call and they get the touchdown, it is what it is. You miss the call. It happens. You're human. But then you come back and back it up with the total opposite. Like, that was your chance to have a makeup call. That's not a late hit. You know, what if you would have fake slid? And now you're the defender who missed the second fake slide. It's like, I'm hitting that guy too. If he's like acting like he's going down, and then I go, if I pull back and he starts running and he gets past me, I'm going to be pissed.
It wasn't even a hard hit. He went, and then you could totally see him trying to lighten up. It wasn't like he went helmet to helmet. It was
dumb.
So stupid. Made me so mad. It made me think, like, don't protect these QBs. They deserve it if they do something like that. Now that was just instantaneous thought. But it's kind of like it's not fair to the defense. It's really not.
No, I'm with you. I was kind of about it too. I like Josh Allen. I don't want him to get hurt. But if you're going to make a fake slide play, don't be shocked when somebody hits you while you're on the ground.
Yes.
Just, I mean, don't. It's just a dumb play by Buffalo. It worked out in their favor, but yeah. But back to what you were saying, tush push. I'm in agreement with you from an objective standpoint that it does need to be removed. From a subjective standpoint, I think you're crazy and you're wrong and you should shut up.
Fair enough. I'll keep my mouth shut. What's your next take?
My next take, focusing kind of on the Eagles a little bit, that Tampa Bay Eagles game, tough to watch. We were talking about it before we got on the podcast. I came in I didn't really have an opinion on who I wanted to win, but because I love Jalen Hurts, I love Jason Kelce, I kind of wanted to see the Eagles win, get at least a playoff win. I'm not jazzed on them winning the Super Bowl either. I'm not like like an Eagles fanboy where I hope that they win because I think they deserve it or whatever. No. But it would have been fun to see them get a couple more playoff games. Unfortunately, Baker Mayfield is the man. He is, dude. I love Baker. It was fun to watch him. He's here to stay. He had 337 yards, 3 passing touchdowns to Hurts 250 and 1 passing touchdown. The only thing that I would talk about here, and I actually had a discussion with one of my buddies who is extremely anti-Philly, hates the Eagles, loved that Tampa Bay won, thinks that Jalen Hurts is one of the most overrated players in the NFL. My pushback on that was I asked him, do you think if A.J. Brown plays, it's a different outcome? Not necessarily that the Eagles win, but at least the score changes. And he was like, you're kidding, right? Like, no, that has no impact on the game.
Oh,
and I'm like,
that's a terrible.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't think AJ Brown coming back even changes his argument. Like, I don't know why he wouldn't concede that, because if AJ Brown's back, it doesn't necessarily mean that Jalen Hurts isn't overrated either. Like,
oh yeah,
if
true.
AJ Brown is that good, he makes any quarterback that good. So you could even still have the Jalen Hurts is overrated and concede that AJ Brown makes a difference.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he could have definitely argued from a different standpoint, but I genuinely think that it gives the Eagles a shot at winning that game. The problem that you run into is the Eagles defense didn't look great, and I don't know if that's just because Tampa Bay is a better offense than people expect. Rachaad White looks fantastic. I think I have a take on him too. Yeah, Rachaad White. So looking back on his stats from the season, Rachaad White went from like a Dameon Pierce type player in the first 6 weeks to like a Kyron Williams week 7 and on. And now he's like from absolutely nowhere is one of the best running backs in the league. So you got Rachaad White, you got a Baker Mayfield who's slept on, has been playing fantastic this season. You got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, everybody's healthy. That offense is strong. But that Eagles defense has been, pushed as one of the best defenses in the league, and they couldn't stop Tampa. Could not stop them. So I don't think Eagles win that game if A.J. Brown plays, but it's definitely closer, and I think it gives them a shot at winning. Because Devonta Smith, he showed signs of greatness, but he is clearly a wide receiver too on that team.
I mean, A.J. Brown he's on that team. I don't know if he is a wide receiver 2, though. I think he might be borderline wide receiver 1. If he's good enough to be the only guy. Didn't he have a
certain
pretty
systems?
game?
Yeah.
No, even in that one.
Yeah, he had a good game.
Yeah, so like
he had a good game. Yeah,
he can be a wide receiver 1. Like, he doesn't need A.J. Brown, but that offense works so much better with 2 elite wide receivers, like any would. I mean, that's a pretty obvious statement. Like, would any team say no to AJ Brown right now, even if they have Justin Jefferson? No.
Or Devonta Smith? Is anybody saying no to Devonta Smith either? No, probably not.
No,
he is a stud, but on that team, not having AJ Brown out there, he still has a good game. But Jalen Hurts only has 1 touchdown because he's pretty much only looking at 1 target. Like, who else are they throwing to? You got a DeAndre Swift in the backfield. Great running back. You got Jalen Hurts with wheels, but outside of that, what is your offensive threat? Dallas Goedert, I mean, they were beefing during that game. I don't know if you saw their interaction on the sideline. Dallas Goedert was giving Jalen Hurts a new one. And
you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
It could literally be anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? He could just be super upset about like one play call or something like that, or you know what I mean? He might not even have been mad at Jalen Hurts as much, because nobody was stepping in between them, really. Like, he might have just been mad about something else, or like just mad at how bad the offense is running and just venting it to Hurts, because Hurts wasn't even really giving it the time of day. Like, it's not like he looked
No,
upset.
Yeah. Goddard did only have 5 catches for 41 yards.
Not bad.
I mean, not bad, but not like you're not winning a football game with that
No.
on like as your secondary. Like that's your second option.
Yeah.
41 yards.
You probably need a better second option.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who you got? Olamide Zaccheaus. I don't even know if he was playing. Who else do you have in that Philly team?
Oh yeah, nobody else to really help. I don't think, but yeah.
Baker's here to stay. Jalen's, definitely being questioned right now. I don't think he's as overrated as everybody else thinks, but it is, it's fun to speculate. Is he the guy for Philly? Is he the guy that's going to carry you to a Super Bowl win? Maybe not.
I don't know. I think I'll say one thing, and then you can rebuttal it if you want, which I think you will, and then we'll move on.
Oh, maybe I will.
But Baker is here to stay. That sounds like Baker is their franchise QB. Like, you think he's their next QB for the decade, or their QB for the next decade?
I think he's got. Well, how old is Baker?
Like 28, maybe. I don't know, 20, something like that.
I think he's got a good contract with them. Not a top tier, not Deshaun Watson money, but
well, I hope not. Yeah, I hope not. No, but Baker, I do not think Baker is necessarily here to stay. I think he's a good enough quarterback, but he's
he's still getting hate. He's still getting hate. How is that possible?
That's not hate. That's not hate. That's just like, I don't think he's outstanding. Like, I like him, but here to stay, he could, if he has a bad season next season, right? I think we've seen that Baker can have good seasons. You look at his rookie season and he set the record for touchdown passes by a rookie. Mm-hmm. And then he came back in almost the exact same situation and was absolutely horrible. And then he kind of travels around, gets his confidence back randomly with the Rams, signs this, and he's played really, really well with Tampa. But we've also seen multiple seasons where he kind of is like, his confidence gets shaken, and it's like, well, who are you, Baker? You're a backup quarterback in this league. If all of a sudden he has a bad start to next season, he could easily be gone. I don't know.
I think this, you got to look at it though. He's in Cleveland. Cleveland is cursed. Like, I would lose confidence in Cleveland. Most quarterbacks do lose their confidence in Cleveland. Like, can you name a guy? Yeah, can you name a guy who came into Cleveland outside of like Joe Flacco, who also was a first round exit in the playoffs? Baker got past him. But like, outside of Flacco, you got guys like Deshaun Watson, who's projected to be a great quarterback, have a good comeback stint, was great in Houston, sucks in Cleveland. Johnny Manziel sucks in Cleveland. Everybody who seems to come through that organization, it's a trash team, if I'm going to say so, from the offensive perspective. They have a good defense, but something's wrong on that offensive side.
No,
now I
don't think so.
Baker was getting hate all through the season. Throughout the season, it was like 6 weeks in, Baker's playing great. Andy is quick to say, but it's Baker Mayfield. He's going to fall apart. It's Baker Mayfield. Mm-hmm. You get into week 10, people are still saying Baker's going to fall apart. Just wait for Baker to fall apart. He comes in and puts up 337 yards on one of the best defenses in the NFL. Probably not in the postseason right now, but throughout the season, they were one of the best defenses. And then he's still like, we'll see what he does next year. When is the Baker slander going to stop? I'm sick of it.
I could easily see him. I could see him being their quarterback for the next 5 years. I could see it, but I could just as easily see this being his Case Keenum season when he was with the Vikes, where everybody's like, just wait for it. The wheels are going to fall off. The wheels are going to fall off. And he never did anything. I don't know if I'm putting after Keenum that season. Never did anything.
I'm not sure I'm putting Keenum in the same category as Baker, but next year will be telling. But I think he's not getting enough credit for what he did this season because I'm leaning more on the positive side of next season. I think he's going to go in, and I think Tampa's going to have a good season next year now. No matter how this postseason finishes out at this point, I think I think he's here to stay, and I think if they're smart, they sign him to a 4-year contract.
Yeah. Oh, okay, maybe.
I'm here for it.
A 4-year deal that is very team friendly, where they can get out of it after 2. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But it can't
Yeah,
be.
that seems fair.
It can't be loaded at the back end where it's like you're definitely
no,
stuck
not
with him for
guaranteed.
4 years. Okay, let's.
No. I'm with you.
I like it. I like
Move
it.
on to my last.
My last take. You're skipping my third.
Oh, my bad. Tush push. Yeah. Yep, you're right.
This one will be quick. We don't have to. I don't think there's too many talking points about it. But Houston's 2023 draft is looking incredible. They obviously picked Stroud instead and didn't get stuck with Bryce Young. Massive.
Massive.
CJ Stroud.
Massive.
CJ Stroud's the best pick of the draft, in a draft that we already said was absolutely loaded. And he looks like he could be the next
big thing.
I don't mean to say the next Mahomes. I don't necessarily think he's as good as Mahomes, but he looks like he has the ability to be a top 5 quarterback in this league.
Yeah. He could be the next, not the same play style, but he could be the next like Lamar, like being in the top 5 conversation.
He could be the Joe Burrow.
I'm trying to think of who he's like. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about
talent.
I don't know talent-wise who his comparison would be, like what his skill set compares to, but he has the respect of all his teammates. He's clearly a leader in that locker room. He can make all the throws. He looks like he has the intangibles, which Andy would hate me talking about any sort of intangible, but he just looks like that guy. And then beyond Stroud, they moved up to number 3. I don't know if you remember the draft last year. They had the 12th pick, traded the 12th pick, another pick in last year's draft, and then their first round pick this year and another pick this year to move up to 3. Absolute haul. Like that was a massive pay. And
to get Anderson.
And he has absolutely paid off. I mean,
yeah, he has.
He looks so good. He's not to the same level. He's a difference maker on defense, like a franchise difference maker that will. He's completely altering what that defense is able to do, and I think now grading it a year later, what they gave up was completely worth it to get those 2 players. They're set. Like they have cornerstones on both sides of the ball. And it's really, really fun to watch them. It's so hard to not. I mean, I don't know who they would have to play for me to not be cheering for Houston right now.
Yeah. I was kind of so in our pick'em challenge, I had selected Cleveland because I was kind of pushing for Joe Flacco. There was something kind of fun about that story, but that was the toughest pick for me because I even told Dad when the game started, our dad, that when the game started, I was like, this is the toughest pick for me because if there was any way that both teams could move on, I would take that third option.
Yeah.
I wanted to see them both in the second round. I like Cleveland this year. I like Joe Flacco. I like, I like that squad because they were like the underdog team in the playoffs. Same with Houston. Young team. You got CJ Stroud coming in as a rookie. You kind of want to root for him. It's a fun team to root for.
They are. They're like the Lions.
Yep. Yeah. I'm rooting for Houston more than the Lions right now, and I like the Lions too. But something fun about that Houston team.
I love it. All right, what's your third?
All right,
what's your third take?
My third take. This is also a pretty obvious take, and I think everybody is going to hear this and say, "No, duh, nice take, great viewpoint from a fantasy football podcast." Whatever. The Chiefs continue to amaze me as a top tier team in the postseason. They come off of a shaky year. Mahomes has a down season statistically. Travis Kelce is visibly losing a step. It wasn't the tight end that, I think even people kind of thought he was going to come in and be this year. Even in the postseason, he had 3 drop passes in that game against Miami.
Did he have 3?
Travis Kelce does
3 drops?
3 drop passes.
Oh.
Still had a decent game. I think he had like 7 catches for a good amount of yards. No touchdowns, but still had a good game. But yeah, I think I was watching back-to-back drops. I think it was back-to-back plays and he just looked visibly pissed off. But it's like they are losing a step a little bit. They're not the team that they were a couple of years ago. And yet they come into the postseason and still there wasn't really ever a doubt in my mind that the Chiefs weren't going to win that game.
No, it was
everybody's talking about the
matchup.
Dolphins. Yeah, the Dolphins, I mean, yes, they're a fair weather team. Kind of a bummer. You know, you're not used to playing in the cold. The only guy who really has experience with that is Tyreek Hill. He didn't have a crazy good game. I mean, he had a touchdown, but I think he only had 64 yards or something like that on 5 catches. Nothing crazy. And the rushing core in Miami only had 74 total yards or something between Mostert and Achane. So this offense that we've been looking at all season saying this is probably one of the best offenses in the league. The Chiefs shut them down. The Chiefs offense also looked better than, was that the best outing offensively that we've seen? The most, not necessarily the most scoring by the Chiefs, but just the most well-rounded, and it just looked like they were comfortable. They looked like they were going to dominate that game from the first quarter.
Yeah,
that combo.
It was a tough setup for Miami. I don't know what the sports science says is who cold weather favors. I know that Tom Brady had been quoted for saying that the offense is better off in cold weather because basically you know what's going to happen and the defense is on ice and it's harder for them. But I watched that game and thought that the advantage that Miami has is speed, and they weren't able to take advantage of that speed because the game slowed down because of the temperatures and the field conditions and everything like that. I think if they play that in Miami, it's a much different game.
Yep.
So I think
agree with that
Kansas
too.
City had such a massive advantage in the conditions that it'll be super interesting to see because they go play Buffalo next week, right? To see if your take holds up that they're still a top tier playoff team when they play another team that plays like them.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I think on paper you'd probably want to pick the Bills to win that game. I think they are they're a better team, but something deep down is telling me it's the Chiefs. Though I think the Chiefs are gonna beat the Bills. And it's really not based on anything. I'm not basing it on A, B, and C. This is why I think the Chiefs are going to win. I just think Andy Reid and Mahomes is a duo to face every single game. And when it's the postseason, they have more on the line. They're going to do whatever it takes to win a football game. I don't know if the Bills are as tough as they are.
Yeah, I take that coach QB combo over the Bills coach QB combo. Not that the Bills are bad. They got Allen. Freaking amazing, but I love Andy Reid. Such a big Andy Reid fan. He's
me
awesome.
too.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to say about the Chiefs before we move on to the next segment. This is more so going past the postseason. So we're talking about next season. I think there's a lot of speculation on what's the issue with the Chiefs, and it's pretty evident that their receiving core is one of the worst in the NFL. You got Kadarius Toney, Valdez Scantling. Rashee Rice is him. That was a great addition that they made.
He's
but now you're going
wide
into next
receiver
season.
too.
Rashee Rice.
I think Rice is a wide receiver too.
Yeah, I look at Rashee Rice as more of a Devonta Adams or a Devonta Smith actually. Whereas if you bring in he could be a number one, but I don't know if you necessarily want him to be a number one on your team.
Yeah,
you bring in a guy some of the key wide receiver one additions that you could have, and not necessarily every single one is I would say top tier wide receiver one, but you got several guys going to the free agency next year. T. Higgins, Stephon Diggs, Michael Pittman Jr., Mike Evans, Calvin Ridley, Marquise Brown.
I don't think Diggs is a free agent.
Is he? I just read an article that was saying that these are the guys going into 2024 as free agents.
Is he? Why did I think he had one more year left?
Maybe
or another year on his contract?
I read the article pretty quick. Maybe it was just players that were projected to move in 2024, but I thought it was rookies. Or not rookies, free agents.
I'm looking it up right now.
The reason that I kind of bring that up, though, is you bring a Mike Evans into Kansas City, you bring a T. Higgins, you bring a Michael Pittman Jr., specifically those guys. I think Calvin Ridley is a tough argument to make because you bring him into Jacksonville and he does have a huge slump during the season. He's probably not the most consistent guy. T. Higgins, also is a bit boomer bust, but he hasn't really had a crazy amount of opportunities where he is the number one guy. I think if you bring one of these guys in, the Chiefs will continue to ride it out. And that's considering Kelsey doesn't continue to regress And I think you got to get rid of Kadarius Toney because he's losing football games for you.
Yeah, he's brutal. So Diggs is under contract through 2027. So that must have just been like could be on the move. It would be tough for them to take on Diggs' contract anyways. I don't think they have the cap space for that. I don't know if they have. It'll be interesting to see who they sign because I don't know if they have cap space for any of these guys. Probably for Brown.
You're gonna have to.
I don't think you want Brown to be their number one either. I would rather have Rashee Rice than Brown as my number one.
Yeah, then you go Rashee Rice 1 and Marquise Brown 2, maybe.
Yeah.
That's not a bad setup. It's not a terrible setup. You look at Arizona, Marquise Brown is the clear number one in a team that also doesn't really have wide receivers. So you bring him in as a wide receiver 2 option, and I think Marquise Brown shatters the numbers that he did this season, even though I'm not a huge believer in him.
Yeah. No, I totally get it.
But I do. Yeah. All right, let's move on to our next segment. We got off-season speculation continued. Last week, we looked at how well Unicorn Fart did. Long necks and turf hoppers are set up for next season. This week, we will start with the number punchers and see how far many teams we can get through in about 20 minutes.
How far many? I wrote that poorly.
I know.
We'll see how far.
I'm not reading a script.
Much teams can do this segment.
Do well. Football, play good. Yeah.
My bad.
All right, let's open this puppy up. No, you're good.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll give a quick overview of what they have left. So they traded away $8 this season. They traded away their first round pick, and they ended up with 4th. So they received a bonus of $35. So they can keep up to $172 worth of players if they don't keep anybody. That 172 plus 35 leaves them with $207 for the veteran draft. So they're not the worst off, not the best off from a strictly financial point. Let's take a look at who they might have as keeper potential. Do you see anybody off the bat that you think, oh yeah, this is the guy that he's going to keep?
So I think I'm currently looking at Andy's team. How do I switch off of Andy's team?
So there's the 3 bars down in the bottom left corner, next to the plus sign.
Oh yep.
Then scroll down to punchers and go there. So
all right, perfect. So, what was your question again?
I was saying,
trying to figure that out.
You're good. Right off the bat, looking at his roster, who do you think he has who might be a good keeper?
Well, you got Pittman at 11. Is crazy. You're keeping Pittman
for 15.
Yeah, keep for 15. I think that's a smart move. Man, I think it's tough not to make an argument for Christian McCaffrey after the season. I think he probably keeps Christian McCaffrey after finishing 4th. You get a bit of money in addition.
Keep him for 65. Which I was looking back. I was thinking about McCaffrey earlier, and we kept the whole season saying, well, keep him for 65. That's exactly what he's going to get with winnings.
Yeah.
He dropped
tough
$30.
Yeah, but still, I think you can make an argument for CMC to stay. And if that's the case, then maybe you don't get to keep another player because you didn't win this year.
Maybe he still has 92.
Maybe you don't.
Let's say he keeps Pittman, he keeps McCaffrey. He still has $92 left in keepers.
Okay. So he's still got a decent amount of money. I think you can make an argument for Brian Robinson at 16. That's pretty affordable. But I'm not a huge Brian Robinson guy. He did have a couple good games this year, though. I think you cut Travis Kelce. You're not paying $53 for him. Mm-hmm. I think you could make an argument for cutting Chris Godwin. If you want to keep Drake London at $20, I think I'm keeping Drake London over Chris Godwin at 28.
I'm not keeping Godwin. Godwin's gone to me.
Yeah, Drake London is a keeper. I think for me, he would be
at 20. I think they're going to get. I mean, they're going to get a new coach and a new quarterback. He's probably going to look pretty good at 20 by the time the season starts.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then outside of that,
you're going to keep Anthony Richardson for $9.
Yeah, you'll keep Anthony Richardson for $9, and then what are we at? So that's 20. So it was at what, 93? So now you're down to 73. 60. You still have like $60 left.
You have $63 left, and he could keep Goff for 8. I think you keep Goff for 8.
Yeah. I think you keep Goff for 8. So then you're at 50, 55.
Now you're down to...
And then I think...
Yep.
You know what's funny is Odell Beckham Jr. kind of came out at the end of the season looking like a promising player. I think you have to see how... I think you have to see what happens in Baltimore going into next season. But he might get a more focal point position. He could get a bigger position with Baltimore going into next year. If he's going to have like a resurgence year, maybe. But you're not keeping Quentin Johnson. You're not keeping Bailey Zappi. You're not keeping Taylor Heineke. You're probably not keeping Taysom Hill. Maybe
another one we're missing. He has DJ Moore,
Deontay Johnson, or Gus.
DJ Moore for $26.
DJ Moore for 26.
So that would get him down to 27.
I think
$29. He would have $29 left, and his lineup right now with the guys we've said, he would have Jared Goff, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman, Christian McCaffrey, Drake London, Anthony Richardson, and he would go into the veteran draft with $73 more to spend. That's not a terrible setup. It's not the best one.
That's pretty solid.
It's actually probably the worst one we've reviewed so far to me. I would give him. He has no first round pick. He has a second round pick. I think I would give him a B plus. For
I was gonna say B.
Where he's B. I could be convinced of B. Somewhere right.
I think it's
probably pretty average. Maybe a little better than average.
Yeah, just because of Christian McCaffrey.
Exactly. Yep.
But that's an expensive player to keep. But I think he's got a good setup. I think he's going to be fine going into next year. He's got enough money to recoup. He's going to get a cheaper tight end next year. He's going to get a second running back with that kind of money. You can fill your wide receiver spot. Your flex spots are going to be fine. I think everybody's still going to have issues with depth, so it's not like, oh, he doesn't have a bench. Well, nobody really does. I think he'll be okay. I'd rather have his team than mine.
Yeah, I'd agree. Okay, let's move on to the next team who finished 5th in the standings, the Roided Rawberries.
All right.
So the Roided Rawberries, here's where they sit going into next year. They traded away $21. That leaves them with $159 in keeper budget. And then they received a $25 bonus budget for the veteran draft for finishing 5th, which leaves them, if they don't keep anybody, at $184 going into that draft. They traded away their 2024 first, 2025 first, 2026 first, and 2028 first.
Dang. All right. So the guys that he is probably planning on keeping,
Amon-Ra for 46.
Patty Mahomes at 40. Yeah, that's going to be a keeper. I think you could make an argument for Garrett Wilson with things changing going into next year again. I think $48. That's a tough one to swing just because Garrett Wilson didn't look like a $48 player this year, but that's considering he had Zach Wilson. You're paying money expecting Aaron Rodgers to play. Now you're getting Aaron Rodgers back. I could see him convincing himself this is a keeper. So I'm going to say Garrett Wilson is a keeper.
Okay, he's borderline to me, but yeah, let's add him for now. Javonte Williams for 22, another guy who's borderline.
Yeah, he's a borderline at 22.
I think
it's a keeper.
I think
though.
I take the swing. Do you take the swing at him?
I think you could probably, but you also have to remember he's definitely keeping Raheem Mostert for 13.
Yep.
So that's a running back. Do you plan on maybe getting an RB2 that's less than $22 in the draft? I think it's gonna be difficult because we don't know what
they do in the offseason.
Inflation rate is. Yeah, right. Yeah, and we don't know the inflation rate either. We're also considering. So let's say he keeps Javonte and Raheem Mostert. We're not even talking about Bijan Robinson at 59, which is crazy expensive.
No, I don't think you keep him at 59.
I wouldn't. But would you be shocked if Freebs kept him at 59?
Well, okay, so here's where he stands with the guys we've said. So let's say he keeps St. Brown, keeps Wilson,
Yep.
keeps Williams, keeps Mostert. He only has
Yep.
$30 left to keep. So he has no ability to keep Bijan if he wants those guys. He can't keep Chris Olave at 48. Let's say that he doesn't keep
Wilson.
Would you rather give up Wilson or Javonte?
I mean, I'd rather give up Javonte, but I'd rather give up the $48 and have a shot at keeping, TJ Hawkinson or like Rashid Shaheed at $6. You probably want to keep Shaheed. That's another $6. You're not keeping Dameon Pierce. You're not keeping.
Okay, let's add.
There's not a whole
Shaheed.
lot of other guys. Yeah. And then I think you have to make an argument for, do you keep Garrett Wilson, Javonte Williams, Bijan Robinson, Chris Olave, or TJ Hawkinson? Because those are all like big ticket guys.
Hawkinson walks. He won't be ready in time to be useful for the first half
For the season?
of the year.
Oh.
Because he
Okay, so
tore
then
his
TJ
ACL
Hawkinson's not in the equation.
last week. Yeah, I don't think he keeps Hawkinson.
So
But-
then does he keep Hunter Henry for 6 then?
No,
I don't think so.
I think you just go
All
draft
right, so
somebody.
then he doesn't have a tight end.
Yeah.
Okay. So then your argument comes down to Chris Olave, Bijan Robinson, Javonte Williams, and Garrett Wilson. You can keep, depending on who you pick, you could keep 2 of them.
No, not. Oh wait,
you could keep Javonte.
You're.
Yeah.
Let's say you drop.
You could keep Javonte and somebody. Or you could keep Garrett Wilson or Bijan.
Okay, let's say you drop Garrett Wilson, right?
Yep.
Then he has $72 left to spend. You keep Bijan.
Probably.
Now your roster looks like Amon-Ra, Javonte Williams, Bijan, Raheem Mostert, Rashid Shaheed. Those are your keepers. Or if you don't, I might actually then drop. I might go Bijan and Wilson instead, because I don't think you want to keep Bijan, Mostert, and
Javonte. No. Nope.
Yeah. So
Do you think there's any possibility that he keeps
can't.
Patty at 43?
no, that feels.
Coming off
I don't
feels
think
expensive, but he's also coming off a down season. He could talk himself into like, well, Patrick Mahomes is probably gonna have a bounce back, and I'm gonna be kicking myself when he goes for $45 or $44 in the draft.
I don't think he goes for that much. I think it's an overpay.
Even with inflation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh, he can't keep. So yeah, he can't keep one of the wide receivers, Bijan and Javonte. He could keep. Maybe let me check and see if he can keep both of the wide receivers if he lets the running backs walk. No, he can't. He can't keep. The only thing that he can do is to keep Javonte and one of the wide receivers, or just Bijan.
So with that being said, I think I'm going Javonte and Garrett Wilson over just Bijan, because Bijan at 59 is crazy expensive.
Yeah, me too. That leaves him with $49 going into the veteran draft. That's rough. With no first round
That
pick.
is rough.
I mean,
And
you have,
not a great lineup of guys. I like Amon-Ra a lot, but outside of that, Raheem Mostert could take a step back next year. I
think he will.
We don't know about him. I do too, actually. I would keep, if this is my team, I'm keeping him for $13, but I wouldn't be confident going into the next season. And then Javonte Williams, I like him. And Garrett Wilson's got a question mark too.
Okay, here's another option.
What would you grade this?
Another one more option before we move on. Let's say we don't keep Shaheed. Then he can keep, rather than Javonte, he could keep both Wilson and Olave. And then he would have only $29 going in.
On paper, that's a great wide receiver stack. I would not pay $48 for Chris Olave. That would be more than what I'm going to keep CeeDee Lamb for next year, I think.
Well, yeah, but CeeDee Lamb you would keep for I'd keep him for 55.
47.
I know, but I'm saying
right.
what his value is. Like, yeah, you're getting a great deal on him. But what would he go for if he was just in the open market? That's the only thing you can really think about.
Yeah. I think the only thing that I was saying was the comparison between Chris Olave and CeeDee Lamb is that they're very close in how much money they're expected to get paid next year, and they are nowhere near the same players.
I think I keep Olave over Wilson.
That is interesting because they're the same exact price point. I think. Ooh, that is a tough one. Those guys are very similar.
Here's what I think Wilson's the better player. I do.
Yeah, okay.
But only by a little bit. I think that you have consistent. Wilson needs Aaron Rodgers. Without Aaron Rodgers, he's pretty much nothing. Olave has the ability to either play with Derek Carr, or if Carr gets injured, he gets a gunslinging Jameis Winston. So he has a safer floor to me than Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
And Wilson's upside isn't enough to outweigh that floor. Like, I think both of them, I wouldn't be shocked if either one of them outscores the other. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. I would predict Wilson with a healthy Rodgers to outscore Olave with a healthy Carr. But I wouldn't be shocked if it's flipped.
Same. I think the tough thing about Olave, too, is he does have like one or two additions on his team that are going to take plays from him more often than they're going to take from Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson is pretty much the straight, like the front runner in the offense. You can make an argument for Breece Hall, but I think Wilson is kind of the guy in New York, whereas Chris Olave is also dealing with Alvin Kamara, who is fantastic.
He's trailing. I think he's
might fall
the end
off
of his career.
Might fall off next year.
You got Breece.
Yeah, probably.
Breece Hall is more of a threat to me than Alvin Kamara.
Breece Hall is just a little injury prone, and I just think, outside of Breece Hall, who are we talking about? Lazard?
Wasn't Breece Hall completely healthy this year?
Didn't he miss the first 4 games?
I don't know. I can't remember. Did he miss? He missed a game, but
I thought he was out to start the season.
I don't remember. Honestly, I can't remember.
I can't either. I can't find it either.
Oh well. Let's move on to grading. How do you grade?
He played 17 games this
into
season.
The draft. Yeah. Okay.
He only missed one game. That's crazy.
No, he didn't miss any. There's only 17 games in the season.
Yeah, he didn't miss a single game.
Mm-hmm.
If I was going to grade this, oh man, I love Amon-Ra. I think Amon-Ra is the man.
Mm-hmm.
I think Raheem takes a step back next season. I'm not confident in Chris Olave. I'm not confident in Javonte Williams. I do like Javonte at $22, but I'm not confident that he's going to be like a crazy impactful player. I'm going to give this like a C-. It's pretty low.
Yeah, because he doesn't.
But
have
I
enough,
think it is.
He doesn't have enough money to really refill,
build around the guys that he has. Now let's say he has. Let's say he gets to keep. No, right. He keeps these 4 guys, and then somehow he has like $90 left over. $95, $100. Then I'd say, yeah, that's a decent team. You got enough funds to bring in a superstar, but he's sitting at what, $40? Yeah. This is close. I would say this is closer to my team keepers.
50,
1 star.
55.
Oh, 55. I'd give him a C.
Yeah, I think Amon-Ra is a great guy to have on his bench. Javonte could take a step forward. Could also get another guy replacing. Yep. I think a C or C- is where I give it, especially because he doesn't have capital to trade for talent next year. He's only going to have 2. I mean, he'll have 2 future first rounders to work with, but
how much of your future are you willing to give up? You're not going to have anything for the next 4 seasons if you do that. You got to win, but I think you're trying
if you're in the championship league,
to buy.
If you're in the championship league, your first rounders don't matter quite as much. So maybe
True.
I could see him just taking the route of, I'm going to trade every single first rounder I have until I get relegated. Now the fear for him is going to be, does he get relegated in the next 5 years? And now he's absolutely screwed on first rounders.
Yeah.
But
you're kind of like
if you're in the championship, you fight to stay in the championship and don't worry about what could happen next year.
Did you see that show Winning Dynasty about the Lakers with
No, I want to. Magic Johnson.
O'Reilly.
Pat Riley.
Yeah. No. Well, Pat Riley's in it, but it's John C. Riley. He's the main guy.
Yes.
So, not really a spoiler because it happened in real life. That Lakers team to start the season, he was throwing money at the wall that he didn't really have to get players that they couldn't afford and couldn't really keep just to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
And then they won their first year. And he does the exact same thing the next year. Like, just continues to throw away all of his money. He's like, we need marketing. We need advertisement. We need better players. We need better coaches. Like, throws the money, like, out the window every single season in order to win a championship. Now, it ended up working out for them. But the entire show is just about how he's always on the edge of his seat, like, seeing if he is about to be, like, in millions and millions of dollars of debt.
So I think
that's freebie right now.
You're saying the Raw Berries are the 80 Lakers. The 80s Lakers. That's what you're saying. He's a dynasty waiting to happen.
or the story that nobody ever made a documentary about or a TV show about.
Right.
I think he's on that fence. I think he can continue to make the championship league if he sells out. But like you said, let's say in 2 years he gets relegated, he's stuck there. He's not going anywhere.
He's in a bit of trouble.
So it's fun.
Yep, it'll be fun. Well, so we just hit 20 minutes. So
okay.
Let's call it. We only made it through 2 teams this time, but that's fine. It was kind of fun.
That's okay.
Debating what freebie does.
Yeah. All right. So for our next segment, we are going to do draft duel. On today's draft duel, we're going to be drafting a duel. We're going to be doing the best NFL logos. It'll be a 6-round snake draft. The results will be posted on X for you to vote on. Last week's winner doesn't really matter. But it was Luke.
The crowd goes,
it matters, kinda. I want your baby.
We're tracking this, man. This is, well, I say that. We haven't tracked a single thing, but I would love to track it where we actually, how we do, like, according to the results. Now, as we get going, hopefully our sample size will be a bit bigger. I won with 5 total votes on our Twitter. We need a few more people interacting here. But I don't care. A win's a win. I'm on the board.
That's funny.
Yep.
All right. So specifically for this week, is it only current NFL logos or can we pick from retros?
No, only current NFL logos for this one. And I didn't add this in. Should we do a stipulation where you can only do 3 logos from each conference? So you have to have 3 NFC and you have to have 3 AFC logos?
I don't know. We could. Do you think it's important? Because then you're limiting a little bit.
You are. I was wondering if it added a strategic element of like, oh, I need to be careful of when I pick my 3rd AFC so that he can't just jump over to NFC and take
Let's
all
do
his...
it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Yeah, I think that adds an element. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, okay. So you gotta take 3 from each.
You won last week. I had the first pick overall last week. It feels like you get the first pick this week.
Let's just do a randomizer because it's 2 people.
Okay, yeah.
Because we'll keep the order... I like that better
than my...
We'll keep the order different. So 50-50 shot. All right, let's see.
All right.
Randomizer.
I'm gonna need a document
to track
so that I can keep track of who I pick. Yeah.
Oh, we can add it into the show doc as well. Okay, randomizer. I still got the first pick.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I got the first. You got the second.
With that.
Yeah.
And third.
And third, we don't have a third person.
Third pick overall?
Well, it's snakes. So you get. Oh yeah, second and third. I thought you were asking who gets the third pick. I was like,
and when does Andy get a pick?
Next week.
Next week. We only get to pick 1 and 2, and then we have to wait until Andy picks next week. This is an off-season segment.
Oh my god!
All right. So you get first pick overall. Who you going with?
Okay. First pick, man, there's so many ones that I like. I think with the number 1 overall pick, I'm going to take the Eagles.
Oh man, I thought that was definitely going to get back to me. I
I
definitely I didn't think you were going to go number 1 Eagles, but that's a good pick for the NFC.
I love the Eagles logo. I think it's so cool, and I mean,
It's
I
so
love the
good.
colors too. Part of what goes into it is like the colors they use, right? And so that green
Right.
looks so good, and I don't know. I love it. I love their
I love
helmets, everything.
such a clean logo. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm here for it. I do think you let the best logo go to me, but Eagles was going to be my next pick, and I was hoping that I was kind of thinking
Oh,
you were going to go. So my number 1 pick, I'll start with that. I'm taking the Miami Dolphins, and based on a little bit about the colors, easily the best
really?
colors in the NFL. Yeah,
Oh,
easily that turquoise. That turquoise is the best color in the NFL.
okay. I like it. I do like it. But the Dolphins,
Yeah.
I hate their logo. I
Oh, I do not hate it. And I
uh,
also love their old one. I know that you had said we're not picking from
I like their old one.
OGs, but I like their new one too. I still like their new one.
Their new one looks like a corporate logo from like a resort
A
or
pool
something like
company.
yes. I hate it. I hate their new logo.
I love it. I love it. I'm here for it.
Oh,
I'll go with the Dolphins on my first pick.
all
I
right.
think a lot of my motivation does come from the colors, like
I get that.
their jerseys, which it's not a jersey draft, so
No.
that might actually hurt me. But
Mhm.
I think their jerseys are so sick. We were at the mall yesterday, and I almost bought a Miami Dolphins beanie because of the colors. It was so cool.
I get it. Their colors are great. I do love their colors. All right, who are you taking with your second
So
pick? You've got one from the AFC now.
yep. All right. So NFC. One sec. I just got to write out yours too because I can't be picking from
It's
AFC
all,
1, 2, 3. You took the Eagles. I took the Dolphins in the AFC.
mm-hmm.
All right. For my next pick, there are a couple logos that I still really like that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm stuck between like 3, but I can't really talk about it.
Yeah, I know because
'Cause I don't want you to take
want to
them
give
later.
them away and be like, then
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm
I totally get that.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go full homer, and I'm gonna take the Vikes.
Okay.
I like the Vikings logo a lot. Even though I would, if it was my design, I'd probably make some changes. But I think it's one of the most unique logos in the NFL.
I think it's funny that you went from a logo where I love the colors, hate the design, to a logo where I think the design's fun and I hate the colors.
Hate the colors. The same.
Yep.
That was the
Mhm.
reason I didn't take them first overall, is because I'm not a big fan of purple.
Yeah,
But
or
I
that yellow. It's
do-
not a gold. Like the gold's cool. Yellow's kind of like,
I like the yellow. That's this yellow.
yeah.
I love this color.
You actually rock yellow.
This is my favorite color.
yeah. You
Yeah. So I'm taking the Vikes because I love the yellow, and I do like the logo. There are some changes I'd make, but those are my first 2 picks. Who's your
Okay.
second and third?
So my second pick is going to be. Man,
It's tough.
it's so tough. It's so tough.
I think my teams are going to get picked right here, both of them. My next 2.
I'm gonna go with. I'm debating between a couple different AFC teams. I think I know the NFC team that I want, so I'll start there. For my second pick, I'm taking the Lions for sure.
Yeah, that's the one. If it would have fallen to me, I would have taken the Lions. That's a
Yeah.
great pick.
I love I don't know. Maybe other people won't, but I think the colors are cool. It's iconic. It looks good on a helmet. I love the Lions
Mhm.
one. Okay, so now, dang it, I've got 2 different.
I think most people would agree with you, though. I think you have the historical relevance of the Lions. You have, I think most people like that blue color, that baby blue almost.
Yeah.
Great color. And then the logo is it's iconic. It's maybe not the best logo in the NFL, but something about it makes me feel like it is in a weird way.
I get it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go with my heart over what I think is probably what most people would pick, but I love the Bills logo. That's another one where I see it on a helmet, I see it on the field, and it feels like it's old school feel good football. I love the Bills logo. Okay, so I went Lions 2, Bills 3.
The only thing that I don't love about the Bills logo is that it for whatever reason, for as long as I can remember, it's always reminded me of a mailbox.
I can totally see that.
Because the red streak. What's the red streak? Is the bull just running so fast?
I'm not going to be able to unsee that now. The Buffalo U.S. Postal Service.
They even have the same colors. That's funny.
I know. You just shot my third pick in the foot. I hate that now.
Not to take anything away. I still like the Bills logo. I think you're right. It's very iconic. It looks great on a helmet. I think it's a safe pick, or not a safe pick. It's a good pick.
Okay, so I've got 2 NFC teams and 1 AFC team. You currently have an AFC and an NFC. Who are you taking with your 3rd and 4th picks?
All right, so I'm gonna go one from each again. I'm gonna go from the AFC. I'm gonna go the Broncos. I love their new logo. Love their old logo. They've always had a good logo.
I do. I love that. I regret it. Will you take the U.S. Postal Service and my 6th round pick for the Broncos? I will give you both of those. I'll go 5
for the Devil Horse.
Dang it!
Trade 2 logos for 1.
The Broncos is such a better pick than the Bills. It's such a better pick.
Broncos is a great logo. I'm glad that it fell to me. You know what's funny is if we went back to the beginning of the draft and I had to pick one AFC team, I'm still taking the Dolphins, but then I would take, I'd take Denver at number 2.
I love their new logo and their old logo. Again, we're not drafting retro logos,
right?
But if we were including every logo throughout history, their old school logo is great too.
Which is funny because I just looked up their old logo. It's actually a
hideous.
Terrible horse.
So bad.
Hideous horse.
Oh, it's so bad.
But it's such a good logo though.
I know.
It's so good.
I know.
And then for my NFC team, I'm going to stay up in the north and I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
I think more than anything, the historic relevance of the Green Bay Packers is what draws my attention to them. And I also do think it's going to help in the polls.
I think it's a poll winner. I think that's pandering. That Green Bay logo is, I don't know if it's because so many high schools across the country have stolen that Green Bay logo and just changed the color or Grambling State or something like that. It's just not, it's a G inside of an oval. It's not even a good looking G and it's bad colors. Green and yellow. It's so ugly.
You don't think it's a good shape? It's a football.
No, it's not a good shape.
I like that. I like their colors. I do like the green and yellow. Pretty much anything that pairs with yellow, I'm all about. I'm here for it.
Yep.
So I do like their colors. I like their uniforms, and I know we're not talking about uniforms, but I think just the matter of the fact that they've been relevant for so long, one of the best football teams in the NFL.
It's iconic.
You see the logo all the time. It's super iconic. It's funny though that you bring up that you don't love it because you've seen so many high school teams rocking it. That's the exact same reason why I can't stand the Arizona Cardinals logo.
Oh, I totally get that. They're not going to be in my draft. It is so safe.
No.
They will not be in my draft. I think another
that logo
one
drives me nuts.
Another one that gets stolen all the time is the Vikings logo.
Yeah. Yep.
I've drafted the U.S. Postal Service. You've drafted every single state high school team in the country. You have them all.
That's so funny.
Yeah, if you drafted the Cardinals, you really would have them all.
Close the yearbook, Jack.
So funny.
All right, so now you got back-to-backs.
Okay. I feel like I have a lot of NFC teams. I probably have 3 or 4 NFC teams that I still like. And I have and I have less AFC teams that I really like left. So
I have an AFC team that I really want.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that you don't take them. It might be smarter to take 2 AFC teams, not to help you out.
I appreciate. Yeah, I'll definitely roll with the AFC now. Okay, so
or do whatever you want.
or whatever. Yeah. I'm gonna go with. There's probably like 3 that I'm debating between. The one that hits me in my feels again. I mean, I regretted it with the Bills because I picked that because it hit me in my feels. But the Kansas City Chiefs, I love that logo. You see it, and it's just old school football. It's like that arrowhead, the horrible KC inside the arrowhead. I love the red, white, black, yellow. I like that combination of colors for what it is. So yeah, Kansas City Chiefs will be my number 4 pick. And then number 5, I'm debating between 2 here. I think one of them is one that you want. But my heart says to go with I think you want the Ravens, and the Ravens would be one of my choices, but the one I really want is the Titans. So I'm gonna roll Titans. I'll let you have the Ravens. Was I right? Is that one that you wanted?
Yeah, so I was thinking Baltimore, but it's funny enough, I was stuck between Baltimore and Tennessee, so no matter who you would have picked, I would have just taken the other team.
You were happy either way. It didn't really matter. I think I feel similar.
I wasn't too worried.
If it was your pick and you took the Titans, Ravens was going to be my next. So that's 1A, 1B. Well, 5A, 5B. whatever we're at.
Right. The funny thing about the Baltimore and the Tennessee logos, I mean, we're definitely getting farther into the draft now because there are things that I love about both logos. I think the Baltimore logo is pretty cool. Like, it's a good design, but I don't love
like
the purple.
B. Oh, I don't like the B inside of it.
Oh, yeah. I never even really realized that. I didn't realize that part of the B is covered by like the bird's cheek.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? The bottom of the B is missing.
Is it? Let's see.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, I think if it didn't have the B, I might like it more. I think that kind of throws me a little bit, but I still like it. And then I don't know why. I love the Titans logo. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, there's something fun about it.
One. I like that it like takes the state flag, those 3 stars. It takes the Texas state flag.
I don't love the stars though. The stars look a little chintzy to me. Like cheap.
Stars, yeah, they probably always kind of look cheap. But I like that it takes the state flag and incorporates it. I think there's something really fun about that. The colors are cool again. I like that.
Colors are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, colors are awesome. Do you like the T itself? I think it's fitting, but do you like it?
I think because it's fitting, I do. And you know what I mean? Like it could probably be.
Yeah.
I could probably dislike it in another situation, but I do like it on the logo. I think it looks cool when they have like the. Don't they also have a version where it's kind of like a sword with the T, and it looks really cool as.
I don't know. Let's look it up. Tennessee Titans sword logo. Oh yeah, yep, they do.
Okay, yeah. So
which is pretty cool.
It's super cool. So I like the T. I'm a fan of it.
I think
so. Okay, just to recap quick. I don't know if we got lost there. So I have the Eagles, Lions, Bills, and then I just selected the Chiefs, Titans. You have the Dolphins, Vikings, Packers, Broncos, and your 5th pick is your 5th pick the Ravens?
Yeah, I'll finish out my AFC teams with the Ravens. I think you kind of almost convinced me away from it though, right there. But I am going to stick it out with them.
Okay.
You know what's funny? Until you said something, I never even realized that there was a B on the bird. like I think I've seen it before, but it never like registered. Like kind of how I never realized Dad had a goatee until I was like 16.
Oh yeah,
because he just kind of always had it. So I didn't.
Or it's like somebody had asked me of The Office of like, does Stanley have a mustache? and half the office thinks he does and doesn't.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I remember like somebody had said to me, I think I was in high school at that time. They were like, "Oh yeah, my dad has facial hair," and I was like, "Oh yeah, mine doesn't." And they were like, "Yes, he does," and I was like. No, he doesn't. Does he? And then I went home that night. And I was like, "You have a goatee?" And he's like, "I've always had a goatee." I was like, "Holy cow!" It was like a Homer Simpson thing. It was like you never realize that he has a beard because it's just his mouth.
Homer has a beard?
Oh yeah.
What?
That's Yeah, Homer Simpson has a beard.
This is a Mandela effect thing for me, I think. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
He's got like 5 o'clock shadow.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I did know he has the shadow thing. I didn't think of that
Yeah.
as a beard.
But I always thought of it as like his lips almost. Like not his lips, but just like that's just his mouth. That's Homer Simpson. I never realized that was facial hair.
I get it. Okay. No, now that I see it, I did know that he had like that kind of weird 5 o'clock shadow. I never thought of it as like once you said beard, I was like, oh my gosh, like a full grown, like an Andy beard? I don't think so. I don't remember that.
No, yeah. No, so I will finish off my AFC with the Baltimore Ravens and then moving to the NFC with my last pick in the draft. This is a little tougher because there's not very many logos in the NFC, in my opinion, that are good.
See, I still have Arizona's logo. I still have 3 or 4 that I could easily take.
Well, I'm bouncing between. I kind of like the Chicago Bears logo. I don't love it, but I kind of like it.
The C or the bear?
No, the actual bear.
Okay.
I like the actual bear. I don't really like the C that much.
I actually kind of like both. I'm learning
Which is funny
as we do
because
this
the
draft. I'm learning as we do this draft that I like the just historic, like the old school been there.
Yeah.
Just feels cool.
I know what you mean. Mm-hmm. The bear, the C, which is kind of funny that I don't love the C because it's essentially very similar to the Green Bay logo. Like it's like the oval kind of esque.
Well, isn't it like almost identical to the Cincinnati Reds logo too?
Oh yeah, it is totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally is. Wow, I didn't put that together either. I'm learning something new.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with. I think this has been a very historic draft. I'm gonna stick it out with. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay, and I know that we're not going off retro logos, but that's probably my favorite logo of all time.
I was gonna say you're going with a historic one, and you picked the Bucks. I think that logo's only been around for like it's not even 20 years.
Couple years. Yeah. No, I do like. I think it's kind of an ugly logo, but I also think it's
I like it.
It's fun. It's just a fun logo, and I love the previous logo. So hopefully that's not like playing too much into a bias for me. But
no,
I do like the Tampa Bay.
I like the Bucks
you like
logo.
it too.
I do because it was one of the two that I really wanted, and then I actually probably didn't really think of the Bears until you brought it up. I actually kind of like that Bear logo. And then the other one,
fun.
The other one that I was debating was the 49ers. I mean, you've wrapped up your draft, so I can kind of say whatever now.
No, you're good. I'm done. Tampa Bay was my last pick. Shout out Baker Mayfield, top 5 quarterback.
Oh, there you go. Top 5. You're backing off your number 1, your hot take of Baker Mayfield number 1 overall.
Yeah, just trying to slow down a little bit, be a human.
That makes sense. No, okay, so yeah, I love the Bucks. I was debating between, I kind of like the 49ers. That's another one that's just, it's a hideous logo, but it's been around for so long. It is. Yeah. It is pretty bad. The one I'm actually going to go with, I'm going to go with the Falcons.
Okay, yeah.
I really like that Falcons logo. I don't know if it's because it's kind of like when we started playing Madden, you had Mike Vick, and they had just come out with those new jerseys, which I thought were sick at the time. I don't know if I love them anymore. Maybe too much stuff. They're kind of ugly now, but I like that logo. I like. Ignore that. I like that Atlanta Falcons logo. It's great.
Yeah, I do. So you said Madden. When I see that Falcons logo, I actually think of NFL Street.
Oh yeah, okay. That was around. We were playing that around the same time. I think we had
for sure.
We had the 2003 Madden, and then the next football game we got was Street, and then we had 2K.
It was so iconic.
2K5 with Terrell Owens on the cover.
No.
ESPN 2K5.
Madden?
No, ESPN.
Madden? No. You said Terrell Owens.
Yeah, Terrell Owens.
It was 2K?
ESPN 2K5, Terrell Owens on the cover. The 2005.
Jeez.
The 2005 Madden might have been was 2005 Madden like Steve McNair or something like that?
Madden 2005.
Oh, Ray Lewis.
It was Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis was that.
No,
So,
we
yeah.
definitely didn't have that game. We definitely had that Terrell Owens game.
Yep, we did. And then 2K pretty much shut down. And then it was back to, I don't think we had another Madden game for a little while. I think we got NFL Street 2. And then we
got
probably
NFL Street
didn't
2.
have a Madden game for a while. Like, I think I just played Madden at friends' houses after that for a while.
Yeah, we had NBA Live 2005 with Carmelo Anthony on it, though.
Dude, with the dunk contest? The All-Star game?
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So
That
good.
game was electric.
Okay, we're going to have...
And then I think,
We're gonna
what
have
was
to
our
have
next
two more
Madden game? It
drafts.
would have been
We're going to have two more drafts now. One is going to be a retro
video
logo,
games?
and then sports video games. Like, the best sports video games of all time. That's going to be a fun one.
That's going to be such a fun one. I think our next Madden game was probably not until like Madden 17 with Gronk on it. I'm trying to think of another one before that. I think so. We were off Madden for a while. We had the Madden 25 with Barry Sanders on it, though. I think that might have been...
It didn't work. Remember, we bought that one, and then our PS2 died, and so... our PS2 died, so we had to buy a PS3, but it didn't take the PS2 game.
Yep.
So we never got to play that one.
Yeah, we never actually played that one, and we didn't return it either. We just always had it in that drawer underneath the TV.
I know.
I'm sure we still have it. We never played it.
I'm sure it's still there.
Also, just last thing about video games, we used to also get hockey games from. Yeah, side note, we used to get hockey games from our dad's college friend. He would give us a Christmas gift every year, so we had NHL 2001 and 2002, and those games were also
incredible. So fun.
Games.
I loved those NHL games. So good.
Yep.
Okay, let's get back. Let's wrap up this draft in this episode. I think we're probably like an hour and a half. So your draft, you have the Dolphins, Vikings, Packers, Broncos, Ravens, Buccaneers. I've got the Eagles, Lions, Bills, Chiefs, Titans, Falcons. I'm pretty pumped with my draft, actually. I think other than the Broncos, I would definitely trade you the U.S. Postal Service for the Broncos. And if I did that, I think I have really like my top 6. Like I think maybe actually I would want the Bills over the Falcons. So if I swapped the Falcons for the Broncos, then I would literally have my top 6 favorite. I'm pretty happy.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, you got a good list. I do think I like my list a little bit better because I'm looking at it.
That's
like
good.
If I'm going to pick the top 5. Yeah, true. If I'm picking the top 5 logos in the NFL, I'm leaning towards Dolphins, Vikings, Broncos, Eagles, Lions. Those are probably my 5 favorite logos in the league. And I have 3 of those and you have 2 of them. So just based on that, plus my NFC North pull without the Bears, I think I would have had a bigger pull in the Midwest if I would have taken the Bears instead. But Vikings, Green Bay, I think gives me a lot of leverage on Twitter.
I think you're probably right. That Packers one might win it for you. The Packers nation they're wild.
Let's go Packs! I love Jordan Love, my favorite player in the NFL.
Wow.
He's number 2 quarterback in the NFL right behind Baker. Print it. Print it.
All right, let's wrap this up.
All right. That's the end of our show. We are Relegation Fantasy Football on Apple Podcast and Spotify. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at the Relegation League. We're on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Relegation FFL. Fantasy League Home is linked in the show description for deeper tracking. Also, send us some questions on Twitter and TikTok. And as always, follow and subscribe for more content. We'll be posting every Thursday during the offseason, and during the regular season, we're on every Tuesday, Thursday. So come back for more content. Woohoo! We'll see you later. Relegators.
See you guys.